as I say every month, the first and third Tuesday, favorite time of the month, because it is Being Brown at Work Live. Welcome, everyone. For those of you who have been hanging with me, following me a while, you know Linda Talaferro from the T, The Extra Effort. And for those of you that are new, welcome. Happy to have you here. I am so excited. You see, I have another fabulous woman as a guest. It's going to be new to some of you. I don't feel like I'm new to her at all because we've been talking for a little bit now. And so we've got a connection. I can't tell you, beyond excited. This is my first lawyer, y'all, on the show. So you know I'm excited about this. This is an industry, an area I really wanted to tap into. And she's an author. So, because y'all gonna buy this book. By the way, if you on Facebook, you're in YouTube, you can see the link to her website for this book. But before we get to that, I'm gonna tell you about this phenomenal woman. So, Attorney Chiquita Hall-Jackson is an award winning licensed attorney and adjunct law professor, is the visionary behind the Blow the Whistle Law social justice movement, and the founder of top employment law firm Hall-Jackson and Associates PC. As the first Black president of the National Employment Lawyers Association and a 7-time recipient of the Top 40 Under 40 award, Shakita's unwavering drive stems from her belief that every workplace should be a diverse and inclusive environment where employees can feel safe and empowered to be their authentic selves. Dubbed the discrimination disruptor, absolutely love that. Her personal experiences of workplace injustices, combined with her mother's career as a juvenile correction officer, have inspired her to fight relentlessly for workers' rights. Shakita's mission is furthered through the corporate DEI trainings, employer equity consulting, speaking engagements, and education of inner city youth on their legal rights. Shakita, welcome, welcome, welcome to Being Brown at Work Live.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Oh, I'm beyond excited. I am seriously honored. I mean, everyone, I mean, did you hear that bio? I mean, just the impact that Attorney Hall Jackson, Shakita has had, in the industry from a social justice perspective is immeasurable. That's why when her team reached out to me, one, I was honored that they found Being Brown at Work Live worthy of her being a guest. I was like, yes, yes. How soon can I get her? And she's been so warm and welcoming to this opportunity. I want to jump in because as I shared with you, Shakita, when you were kind enough to share with me your chapter one of your book, you guys going to have to go buy this book. We gonna be all right. That's the title of the book because we are gonna be all right. I mean, that is for real. We're gonna be there. We go. We're gonna be all right. There's something I want to share with all of you other the preface of this book because it really, I mean, when I read it, I had to go back and read it again because it landed on me. There's so much more to this, but I just want to share this piece in her preface. I am a Black woman who became a lawyer, a leader, and an unapologetic advocate for social justice in the United States. In our country, the scales of justice are often imbalanced. No one paved my path with privilege. Yet I continue shattering glass ceilings and redefining what it means to be a Black female lawyer in America. We Gonna Be All Right, a Black executive's guide to navigating workplace dynamics, that's the title of her book, is more than just a book. It's a nod to the oppressed yet hopeful spirit of Black executives and professionals who navigate the complexities of the workplace dynamics. It is a GPS and a rallying cry for those who dare to climb the corporate ladder while staying true to their roots. I mean, for me, I mean, that was everything, everything. Shakita, can you share with me? I mean, you mentioned a little bit in that preface of the challenges you had in your career. Can you share with me and the audience? Take us back. I mean, what was happening for you as a young lawyer, or maybe even in law school, that eventually led to "We Gonna Be All Right"?
Great question. So ultimately, when I was trying to become a lawyer and a little girl, whether that was undergrad or law school, well, one, I love the story. It took me I got 41 rejection letters to get into law school. Yes,
Whoa. Okay,
41
well,
reject
okay, wait a minute. Okay, wait a minute. 41?
41, and I have them all in a little tote. My husband like, throw this in the trash. It's 41 different letters, and this ranged from the
Wow.
years of I started applying around December 2005, all the way and through let's just say April or January of 2010. I got my first and only acceptance letter into law school in April of 2010. And I got so excited, then I froze because I realized it was in Louisiana. I had never been to Louisiana, no
Mm.
one in Louisiana. Most of my family is in Chicago. I have a little bit of family in Memphis, but that was still a distance away. Um,
Yes.
However, I said, no, I wanted this all my life. I'm going for it. And I did. But prior to that, I had actually matriculated myself up by starting off as a law clerk and a clerk for the Circuit Court of Cook County, which is one of the largest court systems in the United States.
Yes.
I think we're second to LA or New York. I can't recall. But outside of that, but when I got that job, I was simply just scanning documents. It was a data
Mm.
entry position. And I remember going to my supervisors and asking for training and can I cross train? Can I watch and monitor other people? So when the opportunity did come to bid for other positions, that I can kind of build my resume to say what I did. Now, while
Yeah.
certain supervisors was open to it, it was my colleagues who were mostly Black females was like, who do you think you are? Where you gonna come in and get on top of us? And I'm like, well, if the bid come open and you chose not to bid and you sat in this role, and that's what they're telling me. I sat in this role for over 10 some years. You think you're gonna come in here within months? Like you had the opportunity to bid, but you chose not to bid.
Exactly.
And so I got that, and that was probably like 21, 22, where I'm exposed to this. And not to mention,
Wow.
it wasn't until recently when I started doing reels and trying to get social media going for my firm when it was asking me, have you ever suffered any sexual harassment or anything like that? But it was more so the passive conversations of, older men trying to take you out. These men
Yep.
grown up to be my grandfather, definitely dad, and I'm this young, fresh person coming straight out of college, excited for this government job ultimately. And just those different things. And then I finally left there. I didn't stay there long. I ended up going to a law firm, and I was one of the few Blacks there. And I just noticed while they did give me an opportunity to go from law clerk to paralegal, I did notice the microaggressions, the down
Yes.
talking, the rudeness, and the nitpicking. I have a
Mm.
tattoo on my arm that I got when I was 18, and I rarely forget that it was there. And I would walk around with just like take my blazer off because it was so hot at times, and
Yes.
get called in or emailed, you need to cover that tattoo up and did it. I'm like, okay. It was just like the little things. And then when I
Yeah.
was getting internships as I was in undergrad and law school, I would notice that the receptionists and different things were going to bathroom crying. These were women who worked under very powerful
Wow.
men in positions of authority, and the way they talked to them and whatever else was going on, these women were being there crying and consoling each other. And I saw that often during my summer interns in Big Law. And I just felt like, well, this is what we have to sign up for if we want to be successful. And I want to
Mm.
get to the level of my career that I wanted. And as I finally got in this seat as an attorney and started fighting on behalf of workers, I'm hearing the same stories over and over again. And what
Yeah.
broke my heart was women who were old enough to be my mom and to be my grandmother. And they're saying the only reason I'm sticking around is because I have 3 to 5 years left before I can maximize my pension. I have my baby child that I waited to, that child that's
Right.
that's still in that's still in college, and I need to be able to afford the tuition to help my child finish school.
Oh my
As soon
goodness.
as they leave school, then I can finally leave this job, despite me already having opportunity and I'm ripe for retirement. I cannot afford retirement with a child in school and a mortgage still pending. So
Yes.
I'm going to sit here and endure this. And I said, and so many of us, unfortunately, we go to the length of litigation and pursuing these things on our own, despite hearing several lawyers said there's nothing there. And then you got the embarrassment of a dismissal, throwing out your case. And
Yeah.
then if you dare go to court in the federal sector, they make you pay the debt of the defendant because you lost litigation that you
Ooh.
frivolously brought against them. And so I felt the need to educate our people because a lot of times we resigning before we should
Yes.
resign,
Yes.
without the paper trail and documents we need. And it's just so much
Yes.
more. So I said I can do my webinars monthly, but I think this book can touch masses and get the
Yes.
word out and help us save our and
Absolutely.
guide them to navigate the workplace because it really is a lot of times a conversation that needs to be had and not
Oh,
litigation.
there's no doubt, Shakita, the conversations have to be had, which is why I do what I do at Being Brown at Work Live to bring this stuff to the forefront, right? To make sure that I'm really to shine a light on it and no more covering it up, to really shine a light. So, as you were at Big Law and some of the, other areas you did before you opened your own firm, what were you dealing with? I mean, I'm sure you had some firsthand experiences of now what your clients are suffering and trying to manage. And I have to be honest, I'm just be straightforward. For those of you watching, I have a kind of a personal interest in this. My daughter, who graduated she's a double bison, graduated from Howard undergrad and Howard Law.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so she's studying now for the bar. She'll be taking it. So, first lawyer in the family. We have a lot of firsts in our community. Yes, I'm so excited for her. So, really, so I do have a personal affinity. But at the same time, the legal field, same as manufacturing, same as all these other industries. We as Black and Brown women have these unique challenges, right? These unique nuances and landscapes we have to navigate. And a lot of times we tend to say, you know what, woe is me. I'm never going to be successful. If you could share a little bit, Shakita, what you had to deal with early on, and then, what inside you it ended up really formulating that confidence that said, no, in spite of all that, I'm not going to be the victim. So share a little bit about what you had to experience in your early career.
Again, it was more so like we always go through the microaggression of the people talking down to you. But the one incident that really sticks out is I was a paralegal and we had to share an office. It was only two of us. And the other young lady, she was from Thailand. She was Thai, so Asian. And then it was myself, and we shared like this really small office. But we had both our desks was facing where we were back to back to each other. And
Okay.
an attorney came in and asked, could she like, are you getting my emails? Yes or no? And she's like, I do apologize. I am getting your emails, but I'm just so swamped. I cannot handle like the caseload right now. Can you please ask Chiquita? Mind you, I have been sending emails daily asking for work, and I'm hitting every secretary,
Wow.
I'm hitting every attorney, and I even reached out to the paralegal and said, can anybody give me work? Because I already knew after a while that means my job is up for jeopardy if no work is coming.
Right.
So the lady, her quick response was, does she even know what she's doing? Yeah, and that just it stung me, and it still sits with me today. And ultimately,
Wow.
she and the assignment was so simple. I needed to bake stamp, and all that is taking a piece of document of evidence and putting a number in the corner via Adobe. And then at the end, like, oh, can you teach me how to do that? And it was just like questioning my competency and my ability to do the simplest task, and no one wanted me to touch their work and mess up their work.
Wow.
And it was just like I said, acknowledging of certain birthdays, events, and things like that, and accolades. But that wasn't done for the people that was of color, just different things like that. And then again, like I said, older guys who old enough to be my granddad or definitely
Yeah.
my uncle and dad who were asking out for dates and all other inappropriate interactions, but just the idea of advancement, opportunity, and introductions, and getting me to a place where my colleagues got there faster than myself, solely
Oh,
because of who
wow.
they were and the
Exactly.
yeah,
Yes, and what you look like versus what they look like. And,
100%.
and Shanika, that is something that all of us has dealt with. And I know most of my audience would be like, okay, so then, why would I even try? Why would I even, make any effort? Linda, you titled this "Stop Playing the Victim," but just listen to what Shakita shared. I mean, in that environment, clearly she's the victim. So share a little bit, if you would, your perspective of that, right, Shakita? Why is that not an opportunity for us to just say, you know what, I give up? I mean, it is what it is, and so therefore, why even try?
Ultimately, my goal and reason is I have a now 3-year old who will be 4 in a couple of weeks. And with that, she cannot go in and have the same adversities
Absolutely.
and roadblocks that I
Yes.
have. And
Yes.
if you hear the stories of your mothers, your aunts, your uncles, anyone within your lineage, they share this same common story. And at some point, we have to disrupt this so that our youth,
Yes.
especially if you send our kids to college at this mass rate right now. Now they're alleging that they're not requiring college. Certain schools and employers are not requiring
I
college
heard.
degrees, but that's because of us who have now, if you do the research, Black women is the most highly
Yes.
educated group, and that's because, and I talk about in my book how we was pushed with the idea of Howard Law and just these HBCUs, and I love
Yep.
it.
Yeah.
And I think everybody should experience. I went to Southern University Law Center in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and it was one of the best experiences of my life. And I think we should continue to fuel our kids that want to
Absolutely.
pursue a college education and beyond that they should. But you have them go after this dream, get all this debt, and years they took away from hanging out with their friends and now being isolated because they went away to school versus being hanging around, keeping the
Yeah.
same group of friends from high school and things like that. Now to go into a career where I give up on myself and I just take what I can and I exit and be miserable and try to now go into entrepreneurship along with this education debt. Why are we leaving? And especially when people go in public sector where you after 10 years you can get your debt wiped out. So
Right.
you got this group that's harassing you and mistreating you in the workplace, living the American dream, and we're
Dream.
giving up and we're over here struggling
Exactly.
in entrepreneurship because we just can't take it anymore. No, it's time to use our voices and take control back.
Absolutely, Shakita. 1,000% agree. Seriously, 1,000% agree. I mean, yes. Look, obviously, I have an entrepreneurial side of me, right? You as well, right? Nothing wrong with it. But I I am hell bent on driving a shift in the paradigm, rewriting the narrative. So we're not walking away from corporate America in any industry. No, we're here and we deserve to be here. And to your point, HBCUs, everything great. I didn't go. I went to, as my daughter calls PWC. I think it's PWC.
But
Yeah, PWI. That's it. I knew when I said C, it was wrong.
I just learned it when
PW.
I went into HBCU. Believe me, I was so against HBCUs, and then I stumbled upon this one little school, and I said, "Look what God did."
Look at God. Exactly. Look what God has done. But yeah, PWI, right? So I went to Carnegie Mellon and then went to Ross for my MBA in Michigan. But it doesn't matter, right? We deserve to be in any institution.
Mhm.
And you're right. So now all of a sudden they're taking away that requirement. Why? It's all systemic.
Yes.
There's no accident with that, especially when the highest percentage of educated people are Black women. And to your point, but this is all the more reason why we need to stay the course. This is all the more reason why we need to stay in these institutions. We need to push for change. We need to show up strong and authentically ourselves, as you pointed in your book, authentically in the roots of who we are. And we can do that. Braids, natural hair, all that. We can do that and be extremely successful, which is why it's so important to have guests like you on who clearly provide the pathway based on experiences you've had in doing so. So, Shakita, what I would love to do, and everyone, look, there's going to be a part two to this that you clearly, if you're missing part one live and you catch it on the replay, shame on you, but that's good. I'm good. I'm glad you're catching it on the replay. But you don't want to miss part two because part two, Shakita is going to step us through some pieces of her book, of which by then, because it's 2 weeks from now, you will have bought it. You will have gone to the link and bought it. And she's going to give us some methodologies and tools, right? So we're not playing that victim and we can take control of our career. So you want to revisit us on February 20th. But Shakita, for as we kind of wrap this session, and when I have these phenomenal guests, I mean, I'm at 10 minutes into closing, it just the time just flies. What would you share? I really want you if you don't mind, peeling back the onion a little bit more around, some of the pitfalls that the audience could be facing, some of the other Black and Brown women that could kind of tend to push them into this victimization mindset, that you want them to be aware of, so that when we come back together on the 20th, they then, okay, I got the awareness, my eyes are open. Now I'm gonna come back on the 20th and get the tools. So give us, if you don't mind, just give some ideas of some of the pitfalls that could make you feel like a victim, or lead you down that path that you want to avoid.
This includes, I did a consultation yesterday, and the lady was talking about how her supervisor was harassing her. And I stated we must use action words. Harassment, you can't define harassment with harassment. So when I say what's going on, you have to define the action words. And that's what I want us to understand when we defined and being discriminated against, being mistreated at work, being harassed. What are the action words? Are they yelling at you? Are they screaming at you? Are they throwing things at you? Are these things happening? Another thing that I noticed, people usually, I'm not getting the promotions. I have sat in this seat for years, and every time a promotion open up, I don't get the promotion. However, the same demographic, blonde hair, blue eyes, getting it, but I am required to train these individuals. However,
Wow.
we'll talk about the tools next week, but my key question always is, did you ever apply? Most people say no, because
No.
they're not going to get it anyway.
Anyway, oh my God, Shakita, please, please. Okay, pause right there. Because we have got to say that again. Because see, that's part of the victimization,
It
everyone,
is.
that we tell ourselves, oh, we're not going to get it anyway, so I didn't apply. And then you get mad when Sally or Jane, or they get it. How are you going to be mad? When you
Exactly.
did not even put your name in the hat, you
Thank
didn't put yourself in the ring. Please repeat that, Shakita, because that is so key. That's so key.
Yeah, so we must make sure that we apply. The key question is, did you even apply? And and then another comeback I always get is that, well, they didn't even post it. So how could I apply? And I wasn't going to apply anyway if they did post it, because I didn't feel like I was going to get it. And so another thing is, are you opening your mouth to let someone know
Mm.
that if I want advancement opportunities? This should be discussed in your interview process. It should be
Yes.
talked about every review process. So we'll get
Yes.
some more tips next time. But ultimately, these are the things that make my skin crawl, because I'm like, you could win if you simply open your
Your
mouth and
mouth.
say what you want. No one is a
Yes.
mind reader, and no one is going to feel sorry. I had a young guy, he just started his career, and he wanted to talk to me. And he goes, do you ever feel burned out? So I think this just comes with the title in some situations, but I'm learning as I get older that I can have a little bit more work-life balance by doing X,
Yes.
Y, and Z. And
Yes.
he goes, I'm working well over 90 hours a week. And I said, why? I said, well, let me ask you this. Do anybody even know that you're doing this? He goes, no. I said, so is your supervisor or anyone with the authority to promote you even aware that you're the first one in and last one out? No. So what good does it do for you
Exactly.
to do all of this and no one acknowledging? I said, you're better off. Well, we'll talk about what the better off
Yeah,
is.
yeah, right, right, right.
But
Better
it's
off.
those things that
Yes.
I'm bending over backwards. I'm the one who's making sure the coffee is together. I'm the one doing this. I am bringing donuts on Friday, and it's, I'm doing all this. I'm working late. I'm putting an extra, pen and paper to
Yep.
make sure that this assignment is done and done properly. I'm embedded in it's embedded in me to go the extra mile because my ancestors, my grandmothers, and my mothers told me
Yes.
that we
Yes.
must do extra. But the
Yeah.
question is, who can vouch for that?
Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
If no
Who
one can
even
vouch,
knows?
yeah,
Who even knows? And that I tell you that, and it is ingrained in us, right? And me at my age, starting this career almost 40 years ago, I had frankly had to unlearn some things.
mhm,
I'm just gonna be, I truly had to unlearn some things. And working hard and doing extra was one of the things I had to unlearn, to be honest. I mean, because Shakita, we all know this, right? We get into the fields that we're in, we know we're going to perform. we
yeah,
we know that, right? I mean, we don't do all the extra, like the education you mentioned and all the things we are ingrained to do to be ready for these positions and then come in and not hit home runs. So we're going to do that. It's the fact that we do all the extra, like you said.
mhm.
Okay, I'm going to stay till 10 o'clock tonight. Okay, why? you know
When your salary is not you have a salary. You're not
Yeah,
getting paid hourly.
exactly.
You're not getting
You
paid
be
overtime.
no, you're not getting paid overtime. You becoming the workhorse. Why? I
Yeah.
mean, you creating that workhorse mentality. So things that we have to unlearn. And I'm so glad you shared it. And this is what I tell a lot of my clients. I mean, we truly have to get out of our own way.
Mhm.
Are there systemic challenges? Absolutely. Is it are there things that need to be addressed? Clearly. But 9 times out of 10, you just gave a couple of examples of when we're in our own way.
Yeah.
There's an opportunity for a role. We say, oh, I'm not going to apply because I'm not going to get it anyway.
Yeah.
You're in your own way. That you got to shift that mindset, which is why we titled this session. And I'm so glad when you and I talked in advance of this. Yes, stop playing the victim.
Mhm.
What pieces of this do you own that you can fix? Which is what Shakita's going to share with you in session 2, ways for you to stop playing the victim. And then, if you have to, unfortunately, and I say it's unfortunate because it can be stressful or whatever, but if you need to do it, you got to do it. If you get to the point where you need to hold somebody accountable, you need to hold a company accountable, and you reach out to Shakita and her firm or other firms to do so, you will have gotten out of your own way. You will have done all the right things.
That's correct.
You will have done all the right things that say, aha, it's not me because I have shown up. I have did this. I have done that. And in spite of me doing all of that, you still held me back. You still
Correct.
held me back. So we're going to wrap this session. Shakita, this was fabulous. I knew it was going to be. I knew it was going to be. I was so excited. Everyone, if you're catching this on the replay, part 1, please listen to it in its entirety. There's a link in the chat that I put in here. If you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, you can see the link. If you're on LinkedIn, unfortunately, can't. But you could Google, you could link in search Attorney Chiquita Hall-Jackson, and then get to her website because you want to buy this book. You absolutely want to buy this book like yesterday. So do not hesitate. And then you want to listen to this, send her some messages, send her any questions, or join us for sure live in part 2. So you're going to get some tools and methodologies and would love to hear from you on some of your challenges. So Shakita could help you either briefly or say, hey, connect with me so we can have a deeper discussion. Attorney Shanita Hall-Jackson. I love that name in its entirety. So I had to say it. Thank you so much. This was just an awesome session, part 1. I look forward to connecting again in a couple of weeks.
Thank you for having me. This was great. I'll see you
Yes,
in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Fabulous. Take care, everyone.